Go Jackers.
Good afternoon, all, and welcome to Rec Talk. So, I want to talk about portal and recruiting updates today. So, first things first, let's talk about who's in the portal. See if I can just name them out off the top of my head. We've got Nate McCullum and Ryan King at wide receiver. Nate McCullum in particular hurts. Jeff Sims and Tyson Pumachan at quarterback. A lot of people won't agree with me. Jeff Sims is a loss for us. So, we've also got R.J. Adams at offensive tackle, Demetrius Knight at linebacker, and Derek Allen out of the defensive backfield. Now, someone actually made a good point in the comment sections, and I didn't realize that transfer rules were set up this way. So I assume since Pumachan transferred from Clemson to Tech, and he already had like the free transfer year, that he didn't qualify to transfer without penalty again. I assumed he had to sit out a year. And a gentleman in my comment section said no, because we fired Jeff Collins. Basically, since we had a head coaching change, he gets another free year. And I was like, man, I don't know about that. But I looked at his 247, says availability immediate. So again, this is why we've got to rein back some of these portal rules, because I think that should be a risk you take. Like, you get one freebie, use it however you want. After that, there ain't no more freebies. If you go to a program that fires their coach, that's on you. You're going to have to sit out a year if you want to leave. So, anyways, with that being said, if you're not subscribed to the channel, what are you doing? This is the greatest channel on the planet. Go ahead and subscribe and like the video. It helps us out a ton. Cdogg and I are doing a live show this Saturday, most likely at 8 o'clock. You're going to want to see that, particularly if you're a Georgia Tech fan. It's going to be great. PayPal link in the description. We actually got our first donation yesterday. I'm pretty sure that person would want to remain anonymous, but we do thank you. We're going to be buying some more stuff for the show. Moving on, transfer portal. So, we've already talked about tight end Jackson Long. Has a connection through his father, who was Chris Winke's center. Hard to tell what we have with him, but it adds another tight end to our roster. Tight end has kind of been the bane of our existence for a few years. If you remember, under Paul Johnson, we didn't have tight ends. Collins comes in, we start developing tight ends, and we haven't got a ton of production yet out of him. So hopefully he can bring in kind of new life to that position. Now the big news is that we have secured wide receiver Chase Lane from Texas A&M out of the portal. And I'll say this, this kid was on Bryce Koon's channel. If you haven't checked out that interview he did with Bryce Koon, you need to go do that. Okay? You need to go do that. You don't want to take my word for it as for what he said. But I thought it was very interesting what this kid said in that interview. He talked about Brent Key and Buster Faulkner coming up, and had a very interesting conversation with him. And this is what I like about Brent Key, and this is what I respect about Brent Key, is he's a straight shooter. He's not going to BS you. He's going to tell you exactly how it is. And basically Chase Lane was like, I didn't get this sense that it was like, oh, please come to Georgia Tech. There wasn't this sense of desperation. Brent Key just laid out, hey, this is what we're able to offer you. We'd love to have you. If it doesn't work out, best of luck. And there is something attractive about that. It's kind of like if you go into Target and they have these booths set up sometimes, and there'll be salespeople that, like, if they meet eyes with you, or you walk in their general direction. Hey, can I have a few minutes of your time, sir? A few minutes of your time? Yeah, I just want to talk to you about who's your current cell phone provider? Yeah, who's your current provider? Yeah, we're gonna be able to be. Has anyone ever signed up for a service in one of those situations? No, never, because it's annoying and it's just, it drips of desperation. So I think there is an allure with a guy like Key that, it's not this, I guess, aggrandized speech that he gives people. It's a very straightforward, I'm treating you like an adult. Let's make a decision. So he talked about that. The other thing he talked about, and this is important because, I've talked about I can't do anything about the financial situation at Tech. We are in a pickle having to pay Jeff, basically $12 million. But what can we do? And this is what any good salesman should do. Identify what your company does that's better than any other company, or what do you specialize in, and you lead the pitch with that, right? So the kid talked about he'd like to get into broadcasting, or to get into radio or broadcasting television in some capacity. Faulkner leaves for 10 minutes, comes back, says, hey, Turner Broadcasting is headquartered out of Atlanta. I just talked to one of their executives, told them, basically you were interested. And he was like, what? That is what we can offer at Georgia Tech, being in the city of Atlanta and being the technology juggernaut that Georgia Tech is. So, yeah, you want to get into broadcasting. Turner's right across the street, I believe, from McCamus Pavilion, or one of their offices are. You want to do news or something? You want to get into political broadcasting? CNN's headquartered in Atlanta. We'll set you up with an internship if you want one. A lot of these young kids are big into the rap game. Pick your favorite rapper. T.I., Gucci Man. If you're my age, Ludacris, Outkast, all from Atlanta. All hit it big out of Atlanta. Do you want to get into like the defense industry? We'll set you up with Lockheed. Do you want to get into anything tech? Basically, anyone who is any kind of significant player in the technology industry has an office in Atlanta and has a relationship with Georgia Tech. If you're on campus, you'll notice that it's just perpetual construction all the time. It was that way when I was there. Why? Because Texas Instruments, Google, Facebook, whoever, they all like annually donate hundreds of millions of dollars to the institution, and they got to spend it somewhere. So they're always doing construction and building new buildings, buying new things. So I thought it was very interesting, and I love to see Buster Faulkner already out there on the recruiting trail, beating it down. Same with Jeep Wade. Same with Brent Key. They're all out there beating it down. Now, if you remember, Texas A&M had the number 1 recruiting class, I believe, last year, right? They were able to do a lot of things with NIL that other people hadn't done yet, or hadn't done to the scale that Jimbo was able to do at Texas A&M. But getting Chase Lane is huge, because now you have the best recruiter you could ever want to get talent from Texas A&M that has a ton of young talent that's waiting to get on the field, right? Watch out for Haynes King, their quarterback. Chase Lane has been tweeting at this guy. He on Bryce's show insinuated that there's more people to come. I would say 2 to 3 more possible. From what I've seen, if we are able to bring Chase Lane and Haynes King over, that would be massive. That lets us give Pyron potentially 2 more years to sit, develop, learn, and become really, really good when he gets the start next. Plus, Haynes King and the receiver you've just brought in already have chemistry, right? That can start moving throughout your program. So keep your eye on that, the situation with who's coming out of the portal, particularly from Texas A&M. A lot of cool things happening. So on the recruiting front, we did lose a commit. I don't know if we lost him as much as we have just stopped pursuing him and don't want to offer any longer. P.J. Wilkins, an offensive tackle out of St. Pius. There were some exciting things with this kid. He's 6'7", 335, massive. I think on 247, though, he's unranked. ESPN might have him as a 2-star. Looks like we're kind of targeting bigger fish. We're looking at a kid out of Purdue. Anyway, so that brings us down to 13 commits for this class, and we're 59th overall in the country in recruiting right now. Now, if you can smash the portal wide open, particularly out of Texas A&M with Chase Lane, you're okay with maybe having a 40-50 recruiting class because you're able to turn over your roster quickly. But we still need to make headway there, and I think that works in tandem with your portal, right? As people see, bigger names coming in out of the portal and some stability coming into your program, the pitch that you're going to be able to give recruits in their homes is going to be far stronger, right? So, and hey, I'm interested to see what Buster Faulkner can do on the recruiting trail. If, Winky was able to snag a kid, I think in the 2024 number 19 quarterback in the country, it'll be interesting to see what Winky and Faulkner can do in tandem on the recruiting trail. So I'm kind of beating myself down to not get too excited about this, but I'll say this could be very, very big for Georgia Tech as far as what we're able to do next year in a short turnover period. So watch out for that. Again, watch out for that live show Sunday with Cdogg, and I'll see you guys later.